A few years ago, Luminosity Gaming made a big splash in the CSGO world. On the Columbus Major, they made an unthinkable double comeback from 9-15 and 6-15 scores, and became champions, despite being outsiders in the grand final with Navi. They started their big rise in CSGO in Brazil. More tournaments were being held in the country, big sponsors and organizations started a lot of projects there, and most importantly, there was a whole generation of young and motivated players. Fallen and the guys made a true era and entered history as one of the strongest CSGO teams in the world. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, because you're watching Cybershock, and today we'll talk about what happened to the players of the legendary Luminosity SK roster. Let's start with a short history of the team. Gabriel Fallen Toledo, who showed great results in CS 1.6 and Source, had a little struggle with finding his place in CSGO. Yeah, he crashed everyone on the local scene, but didn't really compete on the international level. That all changed in April of 2014, when Fallen, with his old friend Fur, gathered a team with the support of the organization Kaboom. Except for those two, there were FNX, Henny, and Lucas on the roster. For the first few months, the guys didn't even manage to get to the international Tier 1 level. If you look at Fallen's tournament history, then you'll see that since December 2013, he played 0 Liquipedia tournaments for 10 months. Obviously, that wasn't the result they were hoping for after gathering the best players in the region, but the team continued to train, and in time, started to reveal its true potential. In 1 month, they won 4 local tournaments in a row. Things started to go well, and in February 2015, Kaboom received a direct invitation to participate in qualifiers for the Katowice Major. It appears to have been a big challenge for Kaboom's management because they couldn't afford to cover the travel expenses for the team, but skipping the whole event was out of the question. The situation became even harder because Kaboom already spent almost everything they had to send their players to the MLG tournament in the States, but the guys failed there, not even earning a single cent. Then, Brazil launched a donation company with a goal of $9,000 so they could send the team to Europe. And fortunately, there are still generous people in this world. ESEA donated $2,500 and also bought them plane tickets, Flusha sent them $1,400, and the rest was gathered by the fans. It was kind of daunting for the players because they had a pretty formidable challenge to face. They had to fulfill the hopes of all the people who believed in them. And they did it! Beating Inshock and Dignitas, Kaboom successfully qualified for the Katowice Major. After this result, the guys were signed by a more wealthy organization, Keed Stars. And when they took 8th place on the Major, management went further and organized a boot camp in the States, hoping that the team would continue to perform on this level. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. The Brazils went pretty well, but it wasn't a top of the major level. So in July of 2015, after a failure on the ESWC, Keed Stars broke the contracts with the players, literally a month before the Major in Cologne. Actually, it was Luminosity Gaming who believed in the team and took the guys under their wing. They even continued to pay for the boot camp in the US. And then it became clear that Keed Stars had made a big mistake. Representing Luminosity, our team made it to the top 8 2 majors in a row. They became a decent Tier 1 team, and one time even made it to the grand final of a big tournament from Faceit. But it was just months before Luminosity Gaming really started to shine. Taking 2 more second places, LG went to the Columbus Major, and beating Navi became the world champions.
Here and win it for the Brazilians. It's going to be a big turnaround there. Hits the headshot on Sousa. Now it's a one-on-one. Guardian versus Taco. It may just be destined to be. And it's Luminosity winning their first major championship.
We need to make a little disclaimer. You see, the main 4 Brazilians were a top 1 team with 3 different players, FNX, Boltz, and Phelps to be specific. In the end, we'll talk about them too. And now, to the main topic of the video. So what happened to the players of the team that basically lifted Brazilian CSGO to new heights? Let's start with Taco, who was the first to leave the team in August of 2018. SK were in a bit of a slump at that time, and in a few weeks fell to 8th place place in HLTV's rankings. The leaving of Epitasio made a big drama in CSGO. He'd been representing this team for over 2 years and helped them win 13 big titles while playing a difficult support role. Taco then released a big post where he wrote that he felt a huge amount of pressure that made him lose his passion for CSGO and caused general unhappiness in life. Realizing that, he decided to leave. Luckily, there's a high demand for good supports, so Epitasio quickly found a new home. In April of 2018, he started to play for Team Liquid, and that was a little contradictory part of his career. The thing is that on the one hand, Liquid showed great results and oftentimes made it to the grand finals of big tournaments, while on the other, they never won a single LAN, and it seemed like Taco himself didn't really fit in the roster. At the end of 2018, he would rejoin his past teammates in MIBR and play there for 2 years, not securing even a single big title. In September 2018, the organization benched him with 2 more people because of the bad results. Taco's KD that year was 0.88. This time, no Tier 1 team was interested in signing Epitasio, and he found himself in the Brazilian Godsent roster that would soon be signed by 00 Nation. Today, the guys hardly stay in the top 30, finishing the most recent major in last place. Taco himself had a 0.85 KD in 2022. Marcelo Coldzera David left the team in July of 2019. Being one of the best riflers on the planet, Coldzera was simply tired of tolerating the bad results of his team. He left with a huge scandal. There are rumors that when Coldzera left the roster, his teammates told him they were happy about it. Cold thinks it was all just manipulation, trying to get him to doubt his decision and return to MIBR. Anyways, one of the best riflers in the world was a tasty morsel for any organization. So soon, Marcelo joined FaZe Clan. He spent 9 months on that team, winning a few big tournaments, but in the end, things started to go bad. Insiders say that in June of 2021, Coldzera himself asked to be benched, realizing that he couldn't unleash his potential while playing the role he was given. After 3 months, he joined Complexity, played there for a while, and left without any achievements. Then, at the beginning of 2022, Marcelo joined Taco in 00 Nation. We already discussed their results, though unlike Taco, Cold still manages to perform with a positive rating. Remember how we talked about the MIB managers who decided to kick 3 members of the roster due to bad results? It was Taco, Coach Dead, and Fur who we'll talk about now, though his story is way shorter than everyone else's. Despite having a rating much higher than Taco's, Fur wasn't so lucky in getting onto the international team. After a kick from MIBR, Fernando didn't have a team for almost 5 months, until he was called for a test by Imperial. Unfortunately, he didn't pass, and once again, found himself on the bench. After an attempt to find himself a place in 00 Nation, Fur got an invitation from Fallen to join Last Dance, where he plays to this day. Today, we know this team as Imperial. Brazils were close to getting into the Antwerp Major playoffs, but on the next major in Rio, they took last place. Today, they're a stable Tier 2 team that sometime reaches the top 15 of HLTV, and Fur himself is performing pretty well. In 2022, his rating was 1.14. It's the best result in Imperial. Well, it's time to speak about the legend himself. Fallen left MIBR just a few hours after receiving the news about the kicked coach and players. He was, to put it mildly, dissatisfied with that decision and said, "We came here as a team, and as a team, we will leave." At that time, Fallen was considered one of the best oppers in the world, with huge experience behind him, so he could afford to wait as much as he needed until some top-tier team invited him. And as it happened, in November of 2021, Fallen signed a contract with Team Liquid, where he would play for a year. Liquid was just another Tier 1 team that in their best days reached the top 5, and on their worst, fell to the top 15. But they had one big problem: results. The guys had won just a single small tournament, CS Summit 3, while on the other events, they didn't even reach the top 3. Fallen's transition to the IGL role after summer vacation also didn't help. On the crucial Stockholm Major, Liquid took only 14th place, not even passing the group stage. In December, Gabriel was benched, and in January, he left the organization for the sake of Last Dance. Last Dance is Fallen's project, whose name speaks for itself. He gathered Brazil's veteran players in order to train with them and make it to the top level. There was also FNX, Fur, Vinny, Boltz, and Peacemaker on the team. In February, they were signed by Imperial. The announcement itself made a lot of noise in Brazil, but in terms of results, the guys didn't really show anything exceptional. As we said before, in Antwerp, they almost reached the playoffs and left Rio in last place. Last year, Imperial only won a single event. It was a small tournament for Tier 3 teams. The team still tries to make it to Tier 1, and Fallen himself is playing quite good. Like we said, his rating's a solid 1.14. So we discussed the 4 main Brazils, but let's not forget about the other players who helped them to be number 1 in the world: FNX, Phelps, and Boltz. Let's talk about them a bit. FNX was a member of Luminosity when they won 2 majors in a row. Lincoln was great at his role, but left the team in February 2017 with a big scandal. There are rumors that he had an intimate relationship with Fur's girlfriend, and the other players considered it to be a betrayal of their brotherhood. Since that time, FNX changed teams often, until at the start of 2022, that same Fur invited him to join Last Dance. He was playing for them until August, and then took Peacemaker's coach spot. With Phelps, SK was the best team in the world for 3 whole months, from July to October in 2017. He was a talented young player, but the guys decided to replace him with Boltz because Joao couldn't find his place on the team. From that time, he, like FNX, changed teams many times, and even tried to rejoin Fallen in MIBR, but didn't succeed. At the start of 2021, Phelps was invited to Godsent, but later he got kicked for personal reasons. Today, he's one of the key players of Team Fluxo. Boltz helped SK Gaming make it to the top 1 HLTV in December of 2017, just a month after he joined the team. Leaving MIBR in July of 2018, Ricardo walked the same path as FNX, changing teams many times. Later, he got invited to Last Dance, where he still plays today. So what do you think about the Brazilian legends? Let's chat about it in the comments. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps our small channel grow and reach a larger audience.